How are you doing? How are you doing, everyone? Welcome to episode one. First episode on Top Six Fan TV, where it's football by the fans, people, and we're excited to be, cracking on with our first episode. And with me in studio, or rather online today, is an ardent Man United supporter, Isaac Musem. Welcome, welcome, welcome as a first guest. How are you doing, man?
Nice having me, Matthew. It's been a long time. I'm good. How is it?
Yeah, but it's doing good. Well, we'll get into that obviously, but yeah, at least positive times now. Feeling all right with Cristiano Ronaldo coming in yourself.
Well, Man United camp is buzzing. Trust me, it's a pandemonium. We will get into it. It's great to be a Man United fan at this time. Trust me.
Yeah, with his age, I don't think Arsenal fans would mind calling back Thierry Henry as well. So better get to it.
I saw someone saying you call Bentner.
We'll get into it shortly. So welcome, fans, and we're going to get right into it after a short intro.
Oh, he's done it! Cometh the man! And it's that one, Bellingham! It's 8 goals in his last 8 Premier League starts at Emirates Stadium. Salah! Oh, wow! What a strike by Mohamed Salah!
Ball down the channel, and it's played into Fernandes in the penalty area. Oh.
Aguero looking for the 1-2 Balotelli. He's won the title!
Haven't they? Here's Harry Kane. Kane goes for it! What a goal from in business here. Lukaku scores on second debut. It's only taken 14 minutes.
Brilliant. There you have it, people. Welcome back. And, like, subscribe, go down to YouTube, search for Top6Fan TV. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, so that you can receive, notifications, at the tip of your hands whenever we go live or basically upload an episode. But, would like to welcome you all to the show. And basically the show is about, everything good about the top 6 English Premier League sides, fan views, news, opinions, and, downright banter in the house. And of course, who better to kick it off than an Arsenal and Man United fan? So Isaac Musem, I'd like to welcome you again to the show. I'm not too sure whether that is, is that a United jersey? Is that a people power shot? For those in Uganda, you know what that means. I can't quite
Boss,
see.
You want me to be deported, eh?
Yeah, we'll not get into that. No, definitely no politics on the show. But man, welcome. Yeah. It's really great to have you on the show. And we'll kick it off. We'll kick the discussion off. With Man United, actually, I was going to kick off with Arsenal, but I think with what's happening currently, the latest development within the transfer market, Cristiano Ronaldo now confirmed by Man United to be moving from Juventus to Manchester United. So we don't know when he'll get to Carrington. Obviously, their training ground, but obviously things to do with the pandemic might mean there might be a quarantine period in there. But how exciting is it to have Cristiano Ronaldo back?
Yes, Matthew, thank you. It will be a disservice to our fans if you started with Arsenal, with Man United making all the headlines, definitely. It's crazy to be a Man United fan at this time because the past 24 hours have been a roller coaster of emotions. We began with Ronaldo likely going to Man City. Of course, everybody's hearts were broken. People began calling out Ronaldo for being a traitor, no longer being their GOAT, in the GOAT discussion. And it ends tonight with Ronaldo actually signing for Man United. It's pandemonium. I trust you. It's all Man United fans are historical at this time. There's mass hysteria. We are buzzed. we can't believe that the GOAT is back. So trust me, we were going to make Arsenal fans cry again. It's about that time.
Please remind us what GOAT is. I imagine it's an acronym. Obviously, for some fans out there, we don't want to think, Man United is welcoming a Billy GOAT to Carrington. Are we talking about a live GOAT? Or?
Actually, it has moved to that step where you find memes and trolls moving with the live GOAT. But GOAT stands for greatest of all time. Definitely in sports, it's greatest of all time. And of course, the debate has been for the past decade or so, who's the greatest of all time? Is it Messi or Ronaldo? Yeah, so for Man U fans, definitely it will be Ronaldo for us. He's our legend. He's done all he could have done at Man U and then moved on to Real, but he remains the GOAT for us, greatest of all time.
Fantastic stuff. So how do you think that now affects your chances, Man United's chances of winning the title? Before this transfer speculation broke out, there was a question: are Man United dark horses to win the title? Obviously, a lot of focus on the current champions, Manchester City, as well as Liverpool and Chelsea, and we'll get on to Chelsea in a little bit. But how do you feel that the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo helps your chances?
Okay, now that tilts the balance a bit. Previously, I was a bit skeptical. Yes, we could be dark horses, but I believe Man City and Liverpool have better squads. Definitely Chelsea have brought in Lukaku, which really, pushes them in a bit higher onto that continent. But with Ronaldo coming in now, well, you can't blame a United fan for believing that we actually now in that discussion much more than previously. Of course, when you compare the squads, our squad was a bit thin in that top four, in whatever order you want to put them. Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man U. But now with Ronaldo coming in, definitely he can get us some of those goals. He'll give us the fear factor again. I think Man U is now back into that discussion. As a United fan, I was a bit, skeptical, but now I'm beginning to believe. Let's see how the next 4 days go. If we can sign a defensive midfielder, I believe then we can, begin to dream again that trophy will come back to Old Trafford.
Defensive. Now that's not very confident from you, Isaac. I thought you were going to say, yeah, we're definitely going for the title. I hear you talking about a defensive midfielder. Are you not comfortable with McTominay and Fred in there? Obviously, Pogba can, Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Matthew, I would want to be realistic at the same time. Yes, looking at the sides that we are competing against, looking at Man City, looking at Chelsea and Liverpool, those are solid squads that can compete on all four fronts, when you're going for Champions League, FA, and all those other trophies. When you look at Man United, our first 11, yes, is good. When we play Fred and McTominay, we lose something a little bit. So we need that strong CDM who can just play solos in that hole, and then you can let all these other attacking guys go. We do not have that person. Fred and McTominay are like yin and yang. You can't separate them. They have to play together. You separate one, you saw what happened against Southampton. We were a little bit thin. So I believe for us to compete strongly against Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea, we need a solid CDM. Someone like Kanti that can sit in that hole alone and boss it. But with the signing of Varane, maybe we may not need so much, strengthening in the middle. Probably our defense might become a little bit solid. I tell you, I've started believing. We're going to push for this title, and I believe it's going to be one of the best titles in a long time.
Brilliant. I hear you, man. And who would you tip as, who would you see as the ideal defensive midfielder to come in and complete that puzzle for you, for Manchester United, just complete the team?
Of course, when you look at the players that we've been linked with, Neves, we've been linked with players like Camavinga. I believe, for me right now, I think Neves would be the perfect player for us, because if you have McTominay, you need a ball-playing player next to him, a CDM who can play the ball. Someone like Jans Tillemans. When you see Tillemans, he gets the ball from Didi after all the dirty work, and he can thread that pass. We need that player. Fred was meant to be that player, but we've seen how reckless he is with the ball. We don't trust him. Neither does the coach trust him with the ball. So we need a ball-playing CDM, someone who can get the ball, thread the pass, release Pogba, release Bruno Fernandes. I believe Neves is the player that we need right now in the window. He would make us tick. He would complete us, and we will be challenging Bulungi.
Oh, brilliant! I would argue, if you're looking at defensive midfielders, I would definitely see Neves is good. Definitely knows how to break up play in midfield. He's quite the terrier there for Wolves, but I believe he's more of a forward playing central midfielder than maybe, let's say, the likes of Bissouma, who is Bissouma from Brighton, who's definitely for me one of my favorite number sixes out there after N'Golo Kante, able to disrupt the play and the flow of opposition teams within midfield, and then basically open up teams by moving the ball forward a lot quicker. And I believe that's why Liverpool are currently interested in him. My beloved Arsenal, as you may know, decided to give Granit Xhaka a contract extension instead of signing Bissouma, who we're all yelling for. But anyways, we will get back to that. But yeah, Man United. Do you feel, finally, as we conclude on the Man United part, do you feel Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should be sacked, or should be under immense pressure? Actually, should be sacked at the end of this season if he doesn't finish in the top two and finishes trophyless, considering the amount of investment. All the razzmatazz right now is around the GOAT. Obviously Cristiano Ronaldo, as you've called him, the GOAT. But how about the likes of Jadon Sancho, who have come in, the likes of Rafael Varane, who have come in from Real Madrid? And for me, obviously, those signings, especially Varane and Cristiano Ronaldo, bring with them immense experience. Not only, besides their abilities, their natural abilities, bring with them immense experience that I think is going to help the dressing room pick up those young lads and give them, the likes of Sancho, the likes of Rashford in there, the likes of, even Fred and McTominay, who are still young Jesus, as well as, Greenwood in there. Pick them up, give them a lift, and I think that is a fantastic blend of youth and experience in there for Manchester United, which is why I think I will, put my previous, what can I call it? My previous dislike for Manchester United down to the side, and actually drop a little respect and say you guys actually have a good chance of winning the title.
Okay, I've always been a critic of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think most Man U fans in the groups know, but I believe this has to be his last season, because the owners have backed him. He's been given enough money to spend. He's brought Cristiano Ronaldo back. He signed Jadon Sancho, one of the greatest young talents in Europe. You have an experienced defender in Varane. He's won 4 Champions Leagues. He's won a World Cup. I mean, he's done it all, right? He has no excuse right now. Actually, the pressure now is on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. 3 to 4 semi-finals, he's been eliminated. He's lost a final in the Europa against Emirates. Good evening. So I believe the pressure is so much on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't know what he's going to tell United fans and the board at the end of the season if he has no try to show for it. He must win something. Even if it's a plastic cup, he must win it. He must.
Well, I don't think a plastic cup will do for Manchester United. Anyway, thanks for that. Moving on from Manchester United and into London, the biggest club in London, arguably, as some Chelsea fans and Spurs fans would have something. Well, Chelsea fans, let's Spurs Spurs fans, please maintain your distance.
They should mind the gap.
Maintain your distance. Mind the gap. Definitely mind the gap, Spurs fans. But Arsenal, I'm talking about the Gunners. Arsenal, my beloved team. Obviously mixed fortunes. Lost the first 2 games of the season to Brentford and then to Chelsea. Looking underprepared, missing quite a number of players, like 9 first-team players. Some would argue the spine of our team out of it. But obviously because of the poor performance last year, second consecutive season, we're finishing 8th position. We missed out on Europe for the first time in over 20 years. Arsenal fans, a good section of Arsenal fans, are not having it. They want Mikel Arteta out. Do you feel, as a Manchester United fan, that Mikel Arteta is out of his depth, or do you think he still has something to offer for the season?
Well, Matthew, given our history, for the past 15 years, I've been hounding you with insults and trolls over Arsenal's performance. But right now, you have to really put on a tough face to say that Arteta is not out of his depth, because Arsenal is a big club. And I don't want to troll you at this moment, but Arsenal is a big club. In North London, definitely, and in London at large, you are up there. So you have fallen way below with Arteta. I believe Arsenal can do much better than that. Arteta, if you're to compare, Arteta and David Moyes took over their clubs at around the same time. Look at where David Moyes has taken West Ham. West Ham is challenging for Europe. I mean, top 4 and then Europa. Where is Arsenal? Arsenal has fallen way off at that time. If you're to compare how Emery left Arsenal, Emery was hounded out of the Emirates, but the results and the statistics are not any different with Arteta. So what has Arteta really brought to the table? I mean, I think it says more about Pep Guardiola, because we all believe that since Arteta had been under, the great Pep Guardiola, he was going to come and do miracles, right? In the first few games, Arsenal won an FA Cup, you won a Community Shield. We could see what he was trying to do, play from the back, come through. But he didn't have the personnel. You didn't have the players who could play the expansive style like Pep Guardiola. He went into the market, bought people like Thomas Partey, bought in David Luiz. So everybody thought, Arsenal was building back its past glory. But everything has fallen apart. I don't know what Arteta is actually doing. I think he and Edu are novices in the whole grand scheme of things. Your signings are baffling. You keep he's bought so many defenders. You've bought about 5 similar defenders, from Gabriel to Pablo Mari, Holding. You have Chambers. You have Ben White. All those are similar, defenders. They seem to have the same strength. Who is the leader in that team? David Luiz could have been that leader. He was released. I mean, we don't know what Arteta is doing. So for me, I believe Arteta is actually now out of his depth. When you look at that sides that used to compete with, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, they are strengthening, every season. They're getting better. And the gap is increasing between Arsenal and those, top sides. Arsenal has not been in Europe for a long time. Champions League. I mean, you can't defend Arteta at this time. The evidence available is that the man is out of his depth. I'm sorry to say, but it's hard not to give up on Arteta.
No, you sound like very many Arsenal fans out there. Very many Arsenal fans who are very disgruntled with Arteta, and obviously the problems within Arsenal, are a lot deeper than that. Some would argue mismanagement from the top, the owners, the board, Silent Stan as they call him, and his son Josh Kroenke, who are in charge of the club, the board, as well as the playing personnel. A lot of his players who are there. Have been there since the Wenger days, the likes of Granit Xhaka, El Neni, the likes of Lacazette, and so on and so forth. And, a lot of fans feel that the mentality is just not right from these players who have overseen the decline of the club over a lot of coaches, because, some would argue that the only constant over the last or let's say 4 managers who have been drawing from Wenger to Emery, good evening as you call him, to Freddie, Freddie Ljungberg, and now Arteta. The only constant in there is actually the players, and we have seen how difficult it has been to offload a lot of a deadwood, as some would call them, out of the club. And yes, Arteta has spent quite a bit in bringing in, freshening up the squad, so to speak. But having spent 129 million pounds, top spenders in having been the biggest spenders in the Premier League. Yeah, I think before, because Manchester United is coming up second with 114 million pounds. I think before, it will be interesting to see what the final transfer figure will be for Cristiano Ronaldo. It's rumored to be around 24 million pounds, which would obviously
25
above Arsenal. But yes, but definitely, having spent that amount, having outspent Manchester City, Chelsea, Aston Villa, Leicester, and even PSG, would you believe it? We are being accused.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. Arsenal are being accused of spending their money unwisely, basically buying potential rather than the finished goods that will be able to take Arsenal out of the rut that they are in. Despite some good players coming in. Obviously, Ben White, saw him on the first game, didn't go too well. Lokonga is one of those bright stars in there. He has actually had some very positive performances within that midfield. We did actually see some positive signs of Arsenal coming back to life. A couple of days ago in the Carabao Cup when they faced West Brom, albeit a weakened West Brom team. Second 11 from the manager, with a lot of debutants from West Brom. Arsenal putting out a very strong side, coming out trumps 6-0. Aubameyang hat-trick, Saka running the show, Odegaard with some fantastic play in there, and even Lacazette and Pepe getting in on the action. We did manage to see the Arsenal that we want to see week in, week out, in the Premier League. But that was against the second string, West Brom, in the Carabao Cup. Can they do it in the Premiership?
Someone was saying that's Arsenal's level. Next. Yeah, someone was saying that's Arsenal's level, playing in the Championship with West Brom. You showed off all kinds of skills, all kinds of goals, and we are wondering, has Arsenal scored all its goals of the month in one game? Because the next game is against Man City. Can they turn up against a big side? Can they turn up against the big boys? It's going to be a challenge, because I really don't know what Arteta is doing, because Arteta against Chelsea, we couldn't see any kind of plan. Even most of the pundits, Arsenal pundits, the former great stars, people like Martin Keown and the captain Tony Adams, they were very disappointed. There was no structure. Yeah. The team had no structure. The team has no leaders. The team has no steel. You can't play against Lukaku by caressing the man. You have to, give him some, elbows, and it couldn't be, pulled out from the Arsenal team. So I don't think Arsenal is going to, show up against Man City. Definitely, we know how that's going to end. It will end about 3 or 4 goals. Luckily for you, De Bruyne is not playing this game because he has a very good record against Arsenal. He scores some of his best goals against Arsenal. I feel for Arsenal, but I don't know why Arteta should be given more time when Emery was hounded out of the Emirates. As much as this hurts me, Emery is now a European champion. He beat Man United. You get so. How does Arteta get more time when a European champion was thrown out of the Emirates? I believe actually Emirates should have been given more time to create some kind of steel, to create some kind of backup. That flow from Wenger to Arteta, I think, was rushed. They should have given Emery more time, or even brought in another seasoned coach to create some semblance of of transition from Wenger. Actually, Wenger is a magician. You have to admit, Wenger was a magician. The things that the man was able to do under the constraints of Arsenal Football Club. Always in Europe, that's magic. No wonder the man was called the professor. He was doing magic at that football club. Arteta is out of his depth. It's too early, just the way we saw Frank Lampard. It was too early for him. This is a big club. Arsenal is a big club in the whole grand scheme of things. They have billionaire owners. They have a very big fan base, across the world, especially in Africa. I think Arsenal has the biggest fan club in Africa. So Arteta is a novice. Yeah. He was only at Man City for two years per se. Behind there, this is a big club.
Allow me to cut you short there. Sorry. Allow me to cut you short there, because we do have to move on because of time.
Yeah.
But compared to a lot of the things, first of all, you say do make sense. He's now surpassed Unai Emery as having more losses than him over almost an identical period of time, and obviously a lot of messaging around trust the process. We're building the club, not inspiring a lot of confidence from the Arsenal fans. You did make a comparison to David Moyes and even to Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard had managed before at Derby County in the Championship, and he did come in, to the Chelsea as his second job. But Chelsea were very ruthless, fired, a legendary player. Not only just any manager, but a legendary player who had a decent first season, but fired him in, brought in Thomas Tuchel. They had obviously smashed the transfer window spending that season, and look where it got them: Champions League title. They're playing, some of the best football in Europe. You can see. But final question and a very quick answer to this: how do you compare, Arteta's fast period, fast period at Arsenal to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's at Manchester United? Do you see progression? Are there any signs? Because you did tell me, and I'll come back and hold you to account, because you did tell me about, when was it? I think it was December last year, 2020, when we were having this horrible run, and I was going mental. And you were like, no, this guy won you the FA Cup. There's something about him. Give him the end of the season. He will definitely, show his true colors. Get him one summer. But I do not see, basically poor organization of the team. I don't see him adapting tactics to suit, the opposition that he's playing. He's passionate about playing his possessive best football, obviously coming in from the back, playing out from the back. But teams are starting to figure us out. Even Brentford were able to put us under pressure, bully us, hurry people out of possession, and hence force us into making errors. So no identical style of play has yet sunk in. And then obviously the issues with the players. We're signing young guys, not enough experience in there to come in and help the team. So do you see how would you compare, very briefly as we move on to the last point, how would you compare Solskjaer's first period, let's say his first 1.5 seasons, to Arteta's? And do you feel, because I say that because the argument has been given that Solskjaer needed time, and Man United have given time, albeit with a few bickers here and there, but Solskjaer has been given the time. Do you feel that Arteta might come good?
That's a difficult one, but yes, in terms of progress, yes, you can see some kind of progress at Man United. You see the kind of football that Solskjaer wants to bring back to United. Of course, it has always been that, exciting movement at the front, score goals, and, and be very exciting. That's good. We've been able to get that back, but you need to show something for it. It pains me that at this point, Arteta actually has something to show for his time at Arsenal. He won an FA Cup, right? That's something to show for. If both of them were sacked at this moment, it will be on record that Arteta won a cup at Arsenal, which Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has not been able to show. The other thing is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer actually found a much stronger foundation at the club. Because if you go through the coaches, Van Gaal and Mourinho, and David Moyes, that's okay. There were some players that have come through, so you can see some kind of spine that he had to work with. Arteta on the other side was not given such a solid foundation. You guys rushed through Emery and then on to Arteta. So I had faith in this man, like you said when we were discussing. But, football, things are changing so fast. We've seen in the past 48 hours, Ronaldo has moved from, Juventus to Man City and crossed to Manchester United in a space of 48 hours. A few months ago, Messi was at Barcelona. Now he's at PSG. I mean, football is changing so fast. There is no room for time, especially at the top 6 clubs. So I believe Arteta's time is up. I think Solskjaer will outlast him for at least one more season.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. And I think we should bring an end to all things Arsenal at this particular time and delve into one of the other serious contenders for the English Premier League title this season. Chelsea, making a mockery of Arsenal in the last Premier League game. Lukaku, coming in to score on his second debut. Do you feel that their signing of Romelu Lukaku, much like, obviously spread a lot of excitement amongst the Chelsea fans, much like Cristiano Ronaldo's signing has done. Do you feel that that is actually the last piece of the Chelsea puzzle that will basically make them strong contenders for the Premiership this season?
Yeah, Matthew, it's hard to argue against that. Yes, definitely Lukaku is the last piece in the jigsaw at Chelsea. You've seen Tuchel is a very methodical coach. You can see what he's trying to do. He wants to build from the back. They have a very solid defense. I think he kept 12 clean sheets out of about how many games, 18 or 20 something. So you can see he's building from the back. And he was unable to, get those goals. Timo Werner, we saw what Timo Werner, he became a joke last season. But Romelu Lukaku comes back to Chelsea, a complete article, right? When he left Manchester United, and that's the other, issue that I had with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said Lukaku couldn't fit into his plan. How about improving the player to fit into your plans? That's what Conte was able to do. Conte was able to tell Lukaku, this is how I want you to play. You're a big striker. You can dominate defenders, hold the ball, release, play in your other, players, the runners, move, score goal. That's what we saw at the weekend. Lukaku was able to hold the ball, push off Pablo Mari, release, a player, push into the box and finish a simple tapping. Imagine Lukaku can do that 10 times and in no time you will be ahead of Harry Kane, Cristiano Ronaldo and all the other strikers in the Premier League. So I believe, yes, Chelsea have gotten that piece and are going to be a very, very strong favorite for that title this time around. Tuchel is a good coach. I mean, the man took over and in 4 months he was a Champions League winner. I mean, we should brace ourselves for Lukaku and his team for the title.
Do you see him scoring 25 goals this season, or do you think he will come short?
I think Lukaku will get 25 goals. The contention now is, will he outscore Cristiano Ronaldo? I mean, that's going to be, he outscored him in the Serie A last season. So will he do it again? So we want to see that battle for the Golden Boot with Harry Kane definitely settled at Tottenham. He also has a point to prove somehow that he's still the leading striker in the league, and definitely want to show Pep what he missed out. I believe Lukaku will get 25 goals. The Golden Boot now is between Lukaku, Harry Kane, and Cristiano Ronaldo.
And Aubameyang. Come on,
definitely,
man.
Aubameyang is a great scorer of goals, but he's in a team that does not believe in him, does not trust him. So I feel sorry for him. I don't see him anywhere near 15 goals. He had 10 last season. You remember?
Well, that's harsh. I think last season was a one-off. He was certainly excited by him scoring a hat-trick a couple of days in the Carabao Cup, albeit to lesser opposition. But let's see what happens. Finally, moving on, what are your predictions in basically descending order for the top 6 teams by the end of this Premier League season? Who do you think will finish in the top 6? From the top champions all the way to number 6. In first position?
Okay. First position, I'm going to go for Man City.
Oh, really?
Number 2, I'm going to go for Chelsea.
Hold on. Not so fast, my man. So you have a goat coming into Carrington, into Manchester United. Obviously, everyone's excited. Why do you feel, or why are you still not confident? Let's say you bring in that number 6. Ruben Neves comes in for Wolves. He comes in because there's still 4 days, a few days to the end of the transfer window. So it might be some, there might yet be some signings made. Why do you still feel Manchester City are strong favorites, even after missing out on Harry Kane?
Well, I believe, for a coach, it's about the methods. You see, Pep has shown us that once you have a method of playing, right, any piece in your squad can fit into that method. And I don't think there's any any manager in world football who has shown us that better than Pep Guardiola. He has a method of playing. He just picks any player and they would fit right into that system. First of all, they have the strongest squad. I believe Man City can play 2 teams and both of them would finish in the top 6. So, yes, I still think they will go ahead and win it. It will be close between them and Chelsea. So Man City will be top. Tuchel is going to push them very, very close to that title. And then Jurgen Klopp and his boys will follow in third. I believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can only manage 4th. As much as he's been given all the armory that he needs to win the title, I believe he's still a season away. And I don't think actually he will be the one to bring that trophy back to Old Trafford. I don't think it's going to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. His methods are still behind some of the best coaches in Europe. I mean, we're talking Pep Guardiola, we're talking Tuchel, we're talking Jurgen Klopp. I don't think he's anywhere close to those great names in world football. So that's my top 4: Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and then Man U will come 4th. In 5th, I'm going to go for Leicester City. Leicester City have strengthened, of course, but they are still short on quality in terms of top 4. They still need a lot of work. Brendan Rodgers has done a lot of work. You have to give credit to that man. He has really pushed a minnow. Leicester is a minnow club, really. If we were to look at the grand scheme of things, how can we put Leicester above Arsenal? But he's managed to have them punch above their weight. So I believe they'll come in 5th again. And in number 6, I think it's very close between Tottenham Hotspurs with Nuno. I believe Nuno is a very good coach as well. And he has managed to keep Harry Kane and Son. I believe between Tottenham Hotspurs and West Ham for 6th. Arsenal will be short. The best Arsenal can do, I think, is top 8. They will not make it for the top 6.
Top 8 or 7th, because there's a space in between.
Well, we have Mavericks like Bielsa. Last season, you guys were competing with Bielsa for 10th position. I believe you'll still compete for the 7th. And I believe he will beat you to it because he has a method. You can see, it's a crazy method at Leeds City, Leeds United, that we will fight you tooth and nail to the end. But I mean, you win some and lose some, So it worked for him last season. I believe they're going to go again. So you'll fight for 7th, 8th with Leeds and the other teams.
Brilliant. Thanks for that. In terms of my top 6, I think I should also give my top 6 prediction. For me,
I would like to hear that.
Number 1, I believe Liverpool are going to surprise a lot of people this coming season because, one, they have their best defensive partnership back in Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez, yes, but you did have Joel Matip as well, quite strong in the season that they won the Premiership. But they have strengthened that and brought in from RB Leipzig Ibrahim Konate, who is also a big, imposing defender. And if they can get him to click, we did see obviously the wing backs, Trent Alexander-Anderson and Robertson, also proving very, very effective on those flanks. And despite Robertson getting injured, we have seen Kostas Tsimikas, the Greek guy, coming in and filling in admirably. So it does look like Jurgen Klopp is very interested in establishing or building his shot for the title behind a very strong defensive approach. And for me, they have the best goalkeeper hands down in the Premiership. So if you look at that defensive unit, if they can get away from the injuries or keep injury free and get their midfield to start clicking, obviously the attack now has Diogo Jota as well, for me, who's a massive boost to them and supports the traditional front three of Firmino, Salah, and Mane in there. So I believe Liverpool, we're going to go into wrap up the show with a bit of transfer speculation, and I have seen that they have made inquiries for Yves Bissouma from Brighton. For me, fantastic number 6 in there. If they can get Bissouma in there and get to click attacking wise, I think Liverpool can surprise everyone. So for me, Liverpool all the way up there. I believe number 2, we will have Chelsea coming second. They have the momentum, European champions. They won that league. Highest spenders last season. Look to complete the puzzle by bringing in Romelu Lukaku. They are looking to bring in Jules Koundé from Sevilla to have a very able partner for Rudiger at the back. Obviously, we saw what damage the wing backs could do in Alonso and Reece James against Arsenal. They have a stable goalkeeper. I think they're just a very good balanced team. Of course, N'Golo Kante coming off the bench, would you believe it? They're one of the best number 6 in the world, obviously. He's up in there for Player of the Year accolades. So I think Chelsea definitely will come second. I think Liverpool's experience will draw them over the line. The second factor actually for Liverpool is that Anfield is back. A capacity Anfield. Liverpool thrive on crowds. So Anfield is going to be the fortress that a lot of teams will struggle to even get a draw from. So Liverpool first place, Chelsea second. I believe Manchester City will come third. I believe, if they don't sort out their striking issue, I don't think they will get away with not having an out-and-out striker or not relying on one, because they did have Aguero last season, although he was injured for most of it. Gabriel Jesus, not quite the striker that can give you over 20 goals a season, but we did see him play quite positively on the right side of the front three. So if they don't plug that gap, if they don't bring in a Lewandowski or surprise us and bring in a Haaland this season and not next, they will finish third. And that obviously Jack Grealish will give them a bit of an edge, but I don't think it will be enough to get them to take the title. So I see City finishing third and Manchester United coming in fourth place with a very strong performance, but a lot of nights just like the last game at Southampton in there, away from Old Trafford. I believe Manchester United will be very strong at the Theatre of Dreams. Away from it, though, I think there will be gaps that where they will come short, and so I see them finishing fourth. In fifth position, I would actually agree that Leicester City will come in fifth. I think they're very organized. They have a very organized gaffer in there. And I believe a very organized team. They have made some very good signings. Their transfer work over the last couple of seasons has just been amazing. And they have recruited a striker, Patson Daka, coming in to support Jamie Vardy. But we have seen Jamie Vardy also get a kick up his backside, and is now seems to be a lot sharper than he was towards the second half of last season. So Brendan Rodgers will definitely continue to drill that team. And I think they will finish fifth. In sixth place, I would actually tip Arsenal as dark horses to come in and finish in sixth place, because I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I've also been I've been giving a lot of stick to Mikel Arteta for his lack of organization, lack of implementing a playing style, and just looking underprepared at the start of the season. But I know West Brom was really low opposition. But if you look at if you flip the coin and look at Arteta's side of it, and see that he was actually missing the spine of his team. I did see positive from a goalkeeping approach. Leno's obviously number one, but fantastic. Ramsdale, there's a lot of banter and noise around spending that much on Ramsdale, but I did see fantastic work from him in the game against West Brom. He looks like he's very comfortable with his feet. Had a fantastic pass that split the entire defense and even midfield of West Brom and opened things up for Saka. So if we can see that competition come in and we don't panic when Leno gets an injury, that would be great. But especially the defense, Ben White, he's had rave reviews. We've not quite seen the best of him yet. But if Gabriel, who's coming back, he did have a training session. If Gabriel comes back and we're able to see, I think we have lost the same in there, but I will continue. So if Gabriel does come back, you have Ben White in there, you have the spine in there, Lokonga strengthening up the midfield in there. And you also have, great. You see your video is still off. But it's great. We still have your audio. But if we can get the attack of course, Odegaard coming in as well. If we can get the attack clicking with Saka, Pepe, Aubameyang, Lacazette, who I believe will stay, and Odegaard pulling the strings, I think Arsenal could be dark horses for for the sixth spot, and that's how I'll wrap up my top six. So yeah, that's it. And I think really trying to conclude the show with some transfer speculation. Obviously, Isaac Lusem having some technical issues there, but we were wrapping it up nevertheless. The transfer side, we have seen that Cristiano Ronaldo has taken a lot of the headlines, but Liverpool, transfer speculation. Liverpool, according to the Express, making inquiries about signing Yves Bissouma, who's 24 years from Brighton. £40 million is what Brighton is asking for. So we'll see if that happens. Wolves rejecting a bid for Adama Traore from Tottenham. Obviously, Nuno Espirito Santo wants to have Adama Traore, who's a tank for me, pacey winger attacking player who can really open up defenses with his directness. We'll wait to see how that goes. West Ham are targeting CSK Moscow and Croatia forward Nikola Vlasic as they look to alternatives for Jesse Lingard. Watford, that's according to Sky Sports. Fabrizio Romano, obviously we all know transfer journalists or football journalists specializing in transfers, claims Watford have opened up deals with talks with Tottenham for a possible deal with Musa Sissoko, who's 32. PSG are still in the market, targeting a number of players, including Paul Pogba, although Pogba looks like he will be staying at Man United and run down his contract. He has a year left on his contract and doesn't look like he's going to renew that. And we'll be looking, according to L'Equipe, which is a French newspaper, looking to actually sign Erling Haaland abroad if Kylian Mbappe does leave for Real Madrid. So Real Madrid making an improved bid of £145 million, according to Sky Sports, for the French forward, 22 years World Cup winner, obviously a very exciting player, and we'll see how that goes. And Chelsea in talks and close to signing Sevilla and France defender Jules Koundé in a deal worth £42 million, which is according to Sky Italia, in there with Blues defender Kat Zuma looking to get out of the door, and West Ham are really interested in him and look like they want to be signing him for about £26 billion. I think that is more or less it from a transfer speculation point of view. Welcome back, Isaac Musem. I think we'll wrap it up with the final review of the Champions League. The draws coming out this week. If I quickly to run through the groups from A to H, we have in Group A, Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain, RB Leipzig, Club Brugge, Bruges from Belgium. Group B, we have Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, Porto, and AC Milan. Fantastic group. Group C, we have Sporting Club de Portugal, or otherwise known as Sporting Lisbon, Borussia Dortmund, AFC Ajax, and Besiktas from Turkey. In Group D, we have Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk, and FC Sheriff Tiraspol. In Group E, we have Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Benfica, and Dynamo Kiev. Group G, we have Lille, the champions of France, Sevilla, Salzburg, and Wolfsburg. And Group F, second last group, we have Villarreal, Manchester United in there. Obviously, the two Europa League finalists last year, Atalanta and BSC Young Boys from Switzerland. And then the last group, Group H, with Chelsea, Juventus, Football Club Zenit or Zenit St. Petersburg, as some would know it, and then Malmo FF from Sweden. What do you think of what do you think of those draws, especially for the top six Premier League clubs? Manchester City, starting off with Group A, Manchester City. How do you see them faring against PSG, Leipzig, and Club Brugge? Or Brugge?
I think that's the group of death. When you look at Man City, PSG, Leipzig, I think that's the group of death. And many people are thinking that this whole thing had been kind of plotted, that Ronaldo will end up at Man City and play against Messi at PSG in the Champions League. But of course, it was not to happen. We had to take over and control, that narrative. But I think Man City will finish top of that group. I think between them and PSG, those two will qualify. Leipzig will have to do it in the Europa. Of course, it comes with hard feelings from last season. They kicked us out of the Champions League. All to
brilliant. Yeah. Good stuff. Thanks for that. Moving on to the next group that has an English team, one of our top six teams. Group B, which in my view is the group of death. Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, FC Porto, and AC Milan.
Well, we're looking at the AC Milan that is very shaky. I don't think AC Milan will give a good account of themselves this time round. I'm not so keen on that game. Of course, when you look at the tie in the San Siro and then at Anfield, those are teams with pedigree in the Champions League. But I believe Liverpool will top that group, and second will be Atletico. I don't see Porto doing much in that group. Let's give it to Atletico and Liverpool.
Brilliant. Sorry for cutting you short there. And then the next group that has one of our top six teams, Group F, with Manchester United in there, Villarreal, Atalanta, and BSC Young Boys. That looks fairly straightforward. You would tip Manchester United and Villarreal to go through to the next round. However, Atalanta are a force to be reckoned with under Manuel Gasperini. They play some very fantastic football and enticing football there in Italy. What do you think? What do you think your chances are? Do you see an upset from Atlanta?
Yeah, someone said that group looks like a Europa League group, because you look at Villarreal, Manu in the finals of Europa, then Atlanta, and Young Boys. I believe it seems straightforward on paper, but Atlanta will give a good account of themselves. I think they'll be the dark horses of that group, and if these two other big boys don't mind that gap, it could be very sad for one of them to drop out. Atlanta is a very good side, like you've said. Villarreal, we have a bone to pick with them for making us miss out on that Europa League. We will fight out with them. But Atlanta are the dark horses. I wouldn't be surprised if actually they qualified. Between us and them, we might make it. Yeah, Villarreal, of course, Emre is an expert in the Europa League, so let him go and do what he knows best.
Fantastic. And finally, Group H, Chelsea, Juventus, Zenit, St. Petersburg, and Malmo. Does look like Chelsea and Juventus would be favorites to go through there. I don't see an upset from Zenit, St. Petersburg, or Malmo. Do you?
No, I think Chelsea has all the armory to go through that group. Of course, Juventus with Allegri is now a better force. They've let Ronaldo go. I think he was causing an imbalance in that team somehow. Many people believe he was causing an imbalance, but when you look at the statistics, the man has scored goals. So let's see what Allegri brings back. Of course, we know he's a good tactician, and I believe them and Chelsea will qualify through that group.
Brilliant. Well, I think that more or less wraps up our show, episode 1, of the Top 6 Fan TV's, debut here on YouTube. Thank you all for tuning in. Isaac Nsem from Kampala, thank you very much for tuning in. Resident Man United fan, banter from the last 15 years. And even so, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. If you're watching the show, please hit, smash the like button, subscribe, hit the notification button so that you can get notified. And, that will, give us a fantastic chance of bringing you some more great content. And we'll be back within a week's time. Thank you for tuning in. Stay safe and God bless.